Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Apologies for being casual, I'm getting ready for badminton. So somebody asked the question, can I pray in jama'ah, in Masjidul Nabi, in Medina, and in Masjidul Haram, in Makkah? Can I pray with our brothers and sisters of Ahlul Sunnah? So let's dive in straight into this question. So can I pray in jama'ah, in Makkah and Medina? First of all, let's talk about the reward for praying in Makkah and Medina. A man came to Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam and asked, Ya Ibn Rasulillah, is praying in the mosque of Rasulullah the same as praying elsewhere in Medina? So the same city, is the reward for praying in my hotel room the same as praying in the mosque itself? Imam replied, no. One rak'at or one prayer offered in the mosque of Rasulullah is equivalent to 1,000 prayer offered elsewhere in Medina. So, in another tradition, Imam alayhi salam has said, pray more in the Prophet's mosque. Try and conduct all your prayers in these sacred places. Places that we cannot replicate in Leicester, in London, in New York. We've spent thousands of pounds to go to these places. It'd be a travesty not to take advantage of these holy places. So Imam alayhi salam, according to this tradition, is saying prayer in the mosque of Rasulullah is equivalent to 1,000 prayers in any other place, except Masjidul Haram, which is in Makkah. For a prayer conducted in Masjidul Haram is equivalent to 1,000 prayers in my masjid. So if a prayer in the mosque of Rasulullah is 1,000 times praying elsewhere, and prayer in Masjidul Haram is 1,000 times praying in Masjidul Nabawi, that means a unit of prayer offered in Masjidul Haram in Makkah is 1,000,000 times more rewarding or more meritorious than praying anywhere else on the face of this earth. So that leads us to another question. Jama'ah. What is the reward for praying in Jama'ah? You must have heard many over your lives, many traditions. The one that really strikes me is a conversation between Jibreel alayhi salam and Rasulullah, in which Jibreel comes to Rasulullah and he says to him, Ya Rasulullah, the reward in a conversation, and cutting the conversation short, what is the reward for praying in Jama'ah? So Jibreel says, Ya Rasulullah, if two people stand together and they pray in Jama'ah, so father and son, or husband and wife, or wife and daughter, mother and daughter, if two people stand and pray in Jama'ah, the reward for that Salaah is multiplied to 150 prayers. And you can see on your screen, the multiplication keeps on going until he reaches 10. Then Jibreel goes quiet. Rasulullah says to him, oh my brother Jibreel, you've gone quiet. What is the reward for the 11th person joining this Salatul Jama'ah? Jibreel alayhi salam put his head down and he says, Ya Rasulullah, there are certain things that are even beyond my ability to calculate. And this is one of those questions. When the congregation goes beyond 10th person, then the reward for that prayer can only be fathomed or enumerated or understood only and only by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, the reward for praying in Jama'ah is limitless. So, we are going to holy places where the reward is multiplied many-folds. Prayer in Jama'ah is unfathomable, limitless reward. The question still remains, can I pray in Makkah, in Medina, behind one of our brothers who are not of our faith? So there are strict rules in the Shia madhab, in the madhab of the Ahlul Bayt with regards to who qualifies to lead a prayer in Jama'at. So you can see the rules on the screen, I've put them on there. One of the most important rules is that the person has to be a believer, has to be a Shia Ithna Ashari, and must not be a Nasibi, somebody who holds malice and hatred towards the Ahlul Bayt. Strict condition. So, is that condition met in these places? Probably no. However, what do our fuqaha, our jurists say? Also, it's noteworthy to remember that despite all the rewards that I just mentioned earlier, Salah in Jama'ah is mustahab. It's not wajib. Okay? So, what do our fuqaha say with regards to praying in Makkah and Medina? So, can I still pray there? At times, while doing tawaf, it might become compulsory for you to stop tawaf and pray. And we'll talk about that when we talk about the rules of tawaf. However, most of our jurists say it is recommended to pray Salah in jamaa'ah with our brothers and sisters in Makkah and Madinah. In fact, Ayatollah Khamenei and his predecessor Ayatollah Khomeini say it's a must. You must stand and pray behind or alongside our brothers and sisters in Makkah and Medina in Jama'ah to show unity and to show brotherhood. And in fact, Ayatollah Sistani mentions it's recommended, but with a difference. Ayatollah Khamenei says that you don't even have to repeat the words of the Salah. Now, but let's focus on Ayatollah Sistani. A person asked Ayatollah Sistani, and you can see this on his website, can one pray congregational prayer behind a Sunni with the intention of Jama'at congregation, and should they recite Alhamd on their own? The answer was, it is permissible to offer prayer in their congregational prayer in areas where taqiyya is required. So if you are there, Allahu Akbar, adhan is done, everybody's standing up for prayers, you will feel excluded or you will feel embarrassed, join in their prayers. But actually, Ayatollah Sistani allows us to join anyway and say Allahu Akbar and pray alongside them, with the condition that you must recite Surah Al-Hamd and the second chapter yourself. Ayatollah Khamenei and Ayatollah Khomeini exempt you from this, but because most of us are followers of Ayatollah Sistani, Ayatollah Sistani says you must recite Surah Al-Hamd. While he's reciting Surah Al-Hamd, you must recite Surah Al-Hamd with a Bismillah, but in a silent voice, even if it's a Jahri Salah like Maghrib or Isha. Okay, so you recite Surah Al-Hamd and you recite the small surah on your own. And of course, all the other adhkar, the ruku', the sujood, the tashahhud, you have to recite anyway, even in congregational prayers. Now, with that in mind, there are certain things that we need to bear in mind. And what are they? If the technology helps me here. Things to consider. So, here are things to consider. Remember, prayer in Jama'ah is mustahab. There is a difference in timing between our Fajr Salah and our Maghrib Salah, between us and our brothers of Ahlul Sunnah. They pray before us. So if the adhan for Fajr has happened and the Iqamah has happened and they stand up for Salatul Fajr, and I will feel awkward, then I have to stand and pray with them. But their prayer is 10-15 minutes before my prayer time. Same in Maghrib. Their prayer time is 10-15 minutes before my prayer time. What shall I do? Here Ayatollah Sistani says, pray something that is qada, for example, or qada of your parents, qada of your marhumin, and then repeat the salah after the salah is finished. Second thing, what do I prostrate on? So in Makkah, inshallah, we have no problems because the mosque itself is all marble, and Ayatollah Sistani allows us to do sajda on marble. In the Masjid of Rasulullah, in Masjid al-Nabawi, there are certain areas that you will see they're favorites of the Shi'as. And subhanAllah, for the men at least, they're right opposite the barrier that separates us from the house of Fatima Zahra alayhi salam. Over there, if you can find in the first line, it's all marble, you can do sajda on marble while praying in congregation. But if you can't, then obviously you've seen, I think Zishan said that he will be giving us musallas with chatai or with husk on there. You can use that. Or I've even showed you in the seminar the small piece of wood that brothers are distributing for the marhumin. You can pray on that. Worst case scenario, Ayatollah Sistani says that if it causes you embarrassment or awkwardness and you are in the state of taqiyya, then you can prostrate even on carpet. Okay? Now, what do I do? So me and you are used to Surah Al-Hamd and Surah Al-Na'ataynak Al-Kawthar, and our salah is done in 2 seconds. But mashallah, our brothers and sisters of Ahlul Sunnah, they have a bit of Jan, they have a lot more energy than us. And sometimes they will recite long surahs, especially in Fajr namaz. So what does Ayatollah Sistani tell us to do? So here I'm praying with the niyyah of jama'ah. Okay? The only difference is I will be repeating my surahs myself. Ayatollah Sistani says, recite your second surah, Surah Al-Na'ataynak Al-Kawthar or Surah Qul Huwallahu Ahad, and then just continue doing dhikr of Allah. Subhanallah, 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 or Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Astaghfirullah, just keep doing dhikr of Allah while they're reciting their long surah. And while you are in a state of dhikr, there is no gap in your salah, inshallah your salah has no problem. Final issue that we might face is that sometimes our brothers of Ahlul Sunnah would recite in the second surah, they would recite verses of wajib sujood. And you will see them all of a sudden, while standing, they will all fall down in prostration and do wajib sujood. What do we do then? Because if we go into wajib sujood, the salah is invalidated, because you have just gone from standing from qiyam into sujood without any for no reason, or because it's a wajib Quranic ayah. So what do we do? Here Ayatollah Sistani says, or according to the office of Ayatollah Sistani, if it causes us, so first of all, we don't go into sujood, we continue doing our dhikr, subhanallah, 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 and they will stand up and they will continue their salah. However, if you feel that it's causing you embarrassment and awkwardness, then go into sujood, can finish off the salah as normal, then repeat the salah once again. So inshallah, these are the rules of praying in Masjid al-Nabawi, the thawab of praying in Masjid al-Nabawi and Masjid al-Haram, the rules of praying in congregation, should you wish to pray in congregation with them, or should you wish to go 5-10 minutes after they finish their prayers and then offer your prayers on your own. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.